Hi everyone. Let me see if I can adjust this a little bit. I'm Ryan, and welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to talk about a couple things while they were on my mind. I just got done listening to the most recent episode with Joe Rogan and oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget his name. How ridiculous of me. Jordan Peterson, that's his name. And I'll be damned if I can understand half of what that man is saying. But by God, is he smart. He is a smart man, and I think he would be an amazing person to sit down and have a conversation with. I'm very jealous of Joe Rogan when he gets to just sit down with these amazingly smart or talented or just normal but all around good people and just have conversations with them. It's interesting that Jordan Peterson mentions that in that talk, is that, you know, that sometimes we as people shy away from things because you basically think about the stigma that's going to be around it. Like the example he used, and he said it's very cliche, but is like a tough guy or a big burly guy or whatever that's very interested in art, something widely considered, you know, more of like a softer subject. So this person would shy away from their interest in that because they're worried about what other people are going to think about them doing that. That's one of the few, one of the many interesting topics that they talked about. I guess one of the ones I grasped a little bit easier because, like I said, his vocabulary is also far above my own. So a lot of the things he was saying, I was just getting lost. Like, I kind of get what he's saying, but I don't follow all his big, super well-spoken words. I thought this was interesting, though, that he said, you know, people sometimes don't pursue things that they probably should because it interests them solely because of what they think other people will think of it. It's actually been something that's come up in my life a lot recently, so it's interesting he mentioned that. Because I find myself doing that. You know, I find myself, even recently, I find myself in this position where I'd like to leave my current job and go find something else to do. Now, I've discussed a little bit in a previous video that financially that doesn't make a lot of sense for me right now, and especially being responsible, trying to be a responsible parent, that wouldn't make a lot of sense for me either because it would just not be responsible at this time. Anyways, moving on. But I also find myself wondering, you know, if I leave this job, what are people going to think? And most of that is due in part to my dad also does. We work for the same place, and we do the same job. We have the same job title. And so it makes me hesitant because I think, well, what is he gonna think if I quit? You know, he didn't necessarily help me get this job. He had talked to the guy who was doing hiring, and the guy who was doing the hiring was a veteran, so he liked the fact that I was a veteran, so he put his recommendation in for me to be hired, is all. So in a way, he helped me get this job. So for me to walk away, I would think it would be kind of disrespectful to him. But I try to take a step back and remember that this is not his life. This is my life. I'm living my life, and I need to live my life doing the things that make the most sense for me, not for someone else. So I would encourage people to just do that, to take a step back and think about that. Next time you find yourself confronting yourself in your head with the what are other people going to think of this? Doesn't really matter. If it's some kind of decision that, is going to affect your life, like that, like, oh man, I'm a mechanic right now, and if I said I'm going to take up finger painting, and people are like, that's crazy, why would you do that? Well, I really enjoy it. What difference does it make? It's not. That's another thing too, is when people give you their opinion on that. Some people, yes, will give you their opinion because they want to see you succeed. But my brother actually told me this when I was having a heart-to-heart with him, is most people don't want to see you succeed. This is partly what Jordan and Joe talked about, is that we have these huge issues as people that you immediately get jealous over someone who is more successful than you. And they use the term successful very loosely. They did such a good job of like, you are jealous of your neighbor because he has a 2-car garage, you only have one, a single-car garage. You're jealous of this physical thing that you can see that he clearly has that you don't. You don't know what he goes through in his house on a daily basis. You have no idea what his life is like inside his walls when you're not with him. His life might suck. It might be terrible. He might have irritable bowel syndrome, and he spends most of his day on the toilet, but he's not going to share that with you as his neighbor. He's just going to let you be jealous of his garage, and you're going to think he has so much more than you, all because of what you can see. We all do that. We all fundamentally do that. I'm just as guilty as most people are of doing this. Not everyone does this. A lot of people are good at controlling it. And as I get older, the more I try to tell myself, and I try to tell my wife when either we're making decisions or whatever, and she says, oh, people will think we're crazy. And I say, who fucking cares what people think? Because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Again, you're living your life for you. And I live my life partially for my wife and my kids as well. I support them, so some of it is for them. But the big picture, though, is it's my life, and I need to live it for me. The thing I've been struggling with, too, is that when I talk of quitting my job, I'm sorry, you guys are probably going to get a lens full of sun. Bear with me, please, though. When I bring up quitting my job with people close to me, the thing about, I get very little support, I guess. My wife will probably see this, and she'll probably get extremely upset. I'm not trying to upset her. I'm not trying to upset my parents if my parents see this. I'm just trying to vent some of these feelings. I don't get a ton of support. What I get is, if I approach somebody and I say, hey, I was thinking maybe about quitting my job. Maybe I'll start a business. Oh man, you know how hard it is to start a business? You know what you have to deal with? What are you going to do about insurance? How are you going to get insurance? What are you going to do about this? How are you going to deal with this? Blah, 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 blah. I get all these things. I get all these negative connotations about it. And the worst part is, I get them all from people who wouldn't know. They don't know what it's like. It's all people who, if I approach someone who had successfully started their own business after quitting their day job, they would probably say more encouraging things like, well, have you thought about this? Have you considered these things and how you might deal with them? Have you looked into this? Have you looked into that? But in almost an encouraging way, not in such a negative connotation way. I've brought up several times that I might think about doing some real estate investing. Oh, you know how hard it is to get good renters? Oh, people just destroy your houses if they stay in them. People just ruin it. People don't pay you. People this, people that, blah, blah, blah. Again, all these negative things. And in the back of my mind, And I soak that in. I soak it in, and I'm like, I just kind of, yeah, I guess you're right, you know. And then I look down at myself, because I'm like, well, I guess I'm the dummy. Why would I think that was a good idea? Now, I'm a big advocate of everybody has ideas. Not all ideas are good ideas. I will try to iterate on that a little bit more in a different video. I wanted to keep this one a little bit shorter. It's going to run probably long because I'm known to ramble. But it really is disheartening to me when I feel like I had a good idea and I approach people that are closest to me, which I would think are the people who most want to see me succeed. And I'm not getting like a soft or positive letdown of encouragement. And I know like with the real estate thing, you could be out on your ass like that if you do that. I know that. I understand that. I'm not naive to that. But it's very disheartening to feel like I have to stay this course. I have to do this thing because it's easiest. By easiest, all I mean is I go to work, I work my hours, I get paid, I go home. That's what makes it easy. I have fallen into the trap that is kind of the capitalist trap, I guess. And I kind of bring this up because Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan brought this up a little bit too, is they talk about how people at the bottom, you know, not only do they envy the people at the top, I kind of brought up like with your neighbor, not only do they envy the people at the top, but they somehow think things are their fault. Like, oh, I don't make enough money because the man at the top makes all the money. Parts of that could be true. I know that's not 100% true. I know that I have a good paying job because someone along the line, somewhere, took huge risks to start this business that I work for, this gigantic corporation that I work for. Therefore, that's why I have a good job. That's why I make good money. That's why I have good benefits. That's why I can put food on the table. But the trap of it that I was kind of getting to is that I now am in that situation where this job has good benefits. It has a retirement plan. It has those things that a lot of people don't get. So I'm looked at as crazy for wanting to walk away from that. But especially lately, when people say, "Oh, but the retirement. What are you gonna do without that retirement?" With the current company I work for, I have to work here for 30 more years before I can retire. 30 more years. So for someone to say to me, what are you going to do if you don't, if you quit this job, you're not going to get that retirement? I might not get it anyways. It might not be sitting at the end of the tunnel when I get there. It's that carrot. It's that carrot dangling in front of you that these big companies do to keep us working, keep you on the wheel, give you just enough incentive to continue their process to make them their billions of dollars. The company I work for, I won't say too much about the company I work for just in case. They make billions of dollars. I don't blame anyone who makes billions of dollars. I don't love Walmart. I don't blame the Waltons for having billions and billions and billions of dollars. I don't. I would never. That's how capitalism works. That's the structure we built. Is capitalism allows people to hold a ton of wealth. There's always more money out there though. Like, if I wanted to start my own business, there is money out there to be had. I probably don't need billions and billions of dollars to be happy with a business. The thing is, though, that would be a little bit better in this country is if the companies that make billions and billions of dollars, if trickle-down economics does not really work the way it sounds, you think this guy's going to get paid a bunch and he's going to pass it down and down and down and down and down, and everybody's going to get money towards the bottom. But usually what's going to happen, and I can't blame anyone who is capable of doing this, is that person at the top is going to take the largest share, and they will pass down enough to keep their workers satisfied and working towards these goals. It's sort of like in the book 1984, how the proletarians work. Proletariats, I can't remember how the proles. That's what he says they do. That is how that book works. Essentially, that's what their society is built around, is the commoners. He says as much. They just give them just enough to keep them voting and working to keep the economy going around. That's pretty much how America works. And that was a huge, long ramble to just say that I don't know if I want to be a part of it anymore. But I mentioned in a previous video as well that I'm terrified. I am terrified to leave this job, go out on a limb, and try something else. I don't know if that is financially responsible for me having 2 young kids and a wife at home that I need to take care of right now. And it's just a bummer when you get kind of stuck in that situation. I know I'm not stuck. We could sell our house. I could quit this job. I could live out of my 5th wheel trailer again. We'd be fine. We'd be really cramped with 2 little kids. 2 very explorative little kids. They love to explore, so it'd be difficult. But we could do it. It would just be nice that if trickle-down economics worked like it sounds, the man at the top takes his share and he divvies it down to his underlings all the way down to the bottom. That's the only problem I have, is when I hear about things that Walmart used to donate to a ton of charities and now they don't so much anymore. I haven't done any research on that. I'm not going to just throw numbers or anything out because I don't know. And I think Walmart employees are not paid terrible wages. But when you look at the top of this pyramid, there is so much money coming in at the top that the amount that makes it down to the bottom is very low. And the way that our inflation and stuff has gone, especially in the last 40 years, it's expensive to live. That's the only part that's a real huge bummer for me to see, is my dream was to get a good paying job, buy a little house with a little bit of land. I wanted some property, and that's all I wanted. White picket fence type thing. It's so hard to do that now. It's just crazy how hard it is to do that when you are kind of a base worker. I mean, that's not even to speak for the minimum wage. I'm not even in this. I don't even agree with the raising the minimum wage type of thing. I don't necessarily agree with that at all. But pay your workers at the bottom, who are skilled labor, are your managers, your supervisors that are holding your puzzle together at the bottom, especially. Make sure they have a very respectable wage. I mean, I don't think that's too much to ask for, and most places do kind of pay that. That was amazing what they talked about as well on the podcast, is that, I could think that my supervisor is being a dick, and I think he's being a dick, whatever. And, me and the other workers, me and 20 other guys might think that it's his fault or whatever. Well, number one, it's not his fault. most of it is usually from above him. The decisions are usually made above the supervisor. And number two is that for all the stress that I think he gives me, I give him stress as well as the other 19 guys that worked for him. We give it right back. A supervisor position is far more stressful than being, you know, the bottom of the bottom. I know this was a horrendous rant. I kind of hope my videos can kind of turn into something. I know Louis Rossmann got his start doing his MacBook and Apple repairs and stuff like that on his YouTube channel, but some of his videos that I enjoy even more are his ones where he just sits down and talks to his camera, talks about his life, talks about how things are going. He rants a little bit, he raves a little bit, he rages a little bit. That's great. I love to see that because it gives me a little bit of an outlet as well. I mean, I don't have to post any of these. I don't think anybody even really probably gives a shit what I think. It's a good outlet. And I also respect the hell out of Louis Rossmann. Living in New York, starting a business with a storefront and everything. That gives me anxiety just saying all those words in one go. I'm from rural Oregon, so I've been to New York City, I've been to big cities, but as far as living there and starting a business there sounds absolutely terrifying. Not only starting a business, this man owns a business. I haven't watched his videos in a while, full disclosure, but I want to say he's opened 2 storefronts, maybe even now, in New York City. You're talking, you know, these freaking, a place where rent on a 1-bedroom apartment is over $1,000 a month. So not only is he able to pay himself, pay for his stores, he also employs people. That's the thing too, is when I complain about this company I work for, again, I have to reiterate, I know they make my life possible though. I am not one of those people, at least I've tried to transition away from being one of those people, and I would encourage others to do the same, is don't think that rich people are greedy. Rich people are not greedy. Rich people are the ones providing jobs. Rich people they provide jobs for the rest of us. I heard it said before that poor people are the ones who are greedy, because poor people do not provide jobs, and all they expect is to get things. They don't give things back to everybody like a lot of rich people do. You know, like I said, that I heard that Walmart doesn't donate as much money anymore. Donating is a small part of it, though. They do employ tons of people, so they pay these people's wages. They give these people lives. I've also heard that Walmart's benefit package is great. I've also heard that they get discounts at Walmart stores where it's already the cheapest place to shop. So, I mean, you know, those kind of things are good. I know this is probably a lot deeper than I'm even capable of understanding in my own head. And it'd be much better for someone who can organize their words much better than myself. But these are just the thoughts in my head. And maybe somebody can get something out of this video. Hope everybody enjoyed, at the very least. Thank you for watching. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.